when I'm not battling pandemic fatigue by watching kangaroos fight each other on Reddit.
Oh yeah. Get up. Take him down. Oh. Oh, here we go. Bo-ho-ho!
I like to answer questions that I get on YouTube, so let's get to it. Flicking my forked tongue nervously. Must ask, when you play the G chord your way, are you muting the high E with your ring finger at the same time? We shall overthrow. So on my video on Monday, I revealed that people who play a G chord with the open B string and 3rd fret on the high E string as a good way to tell if someone's a lizard person or not. And I wanted to expand on that a little bit and talk about the right way to play a G chord, because when I was starting out, I would look up a G chord and I'd see it notated or tabbed out a bunch of different ways, and I'm like, which is the right way? So first of all, there's no right way, but I think this way is the Shawn Daniel way for the most time. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna play your ring finger, 3rd fret on the B string, middle finger, 3rd fret on the A string, pointer finger, 2nd fret on the A string, middle finger, 3rd fret on the E string, right? So I'm only playing the lowest 5 strings, okay? Now let's talk about why I think this is the ideal way to play it, and some other circumstances where you might want to use a different voicing of it, okay? So I think this is the best way to play it in a singer-songwriter setting, or when you may have something else going on in like a mix, okay? One thing that I've learned through many disciplines of life as I get older is that less is more, and if you can simplify something, you should always try to do it, right? Now, a G major chord is any combination of a G note, a B note, and a D note. Doesn't matter how many of one note there are as compared to another one. If those 3 notes are present, it's called a G major triad. Doesn't matter how many strings are on your guitar, any combination of G, B, and D is going to be a G major chord, okay? So the most common ones are where your ring finger is on the 3rd fret of the B string, the Shawn Daniel G way, the People's G major, your ring finger or pinky or whatever on the 3rd fret of the high E string, where we have an open B string also ringing out, or maybe your pinky 3rd fret on the high E string and your ring finger 3rd fret on the B string. Okay, so these are the 3 most common ways. Way number 1, lizard person way, and then Oasis Wonderwall way. Okay? So, and your ears may seem to think that those are identical, but there are small differences which kind of make them different, which would be the definition of differences, okay? So, the reason I like this one is because it frees up your other fingers to maybe do something else and to more easily pivot into other chords, right? Now, when I say it's the singer-songwriter way to play this chord, and I think it's the best way to do it, is because the only difference is we're playing 5 notes instead of 6, right? Our requirements for a G major triad have been fulfilled. So maybe if you're singing along with the song, whatever the song may be, let's say that the note that you're singing happens to be a G note. Now, it doesn't have to be this pitch G, it doesn't have to be that high, but if we limit the number of notes playing, your voice is gonna tend to blend into that a little bit better, okay? So that's why I kind of like simplifying this G chord to just the lowest 5 strings. All right, now, that doesn't mean that that works for absolutely every situation, you know? The nice thing about this is because, like I said in that video the other day, G to D is a very popular transition. Not that that can't be done with your pinky on there too, but I just think it's a better way to use your ring finger as kind of like a pivot point to all the other chords in whatever key you're doing. And then also use your pinky to maybe hammer on or be used as like a free agent for other things, okay? Now, one example of when you might want to use lizard people's G major, where now I have the open B string and the 3rd fret of the high E string is being held down. Maybe we're not so much worried about having something blend together. Maybe we just want like a big open chimey sound, and you're playing an acoustic guitar perhaps, where you want to really take full advantage of the sustain and warmth of a nice acoustic guitar like this D'Angelico Lexington XL. When we have that, we have more open strings resonating and ringing out. So for big kind of single strums, maybe you want to open that B string up, which is a little bit different than, okay? Now there's less going on because there's only 5 strings resonating, vibrating as compared to 6. And really, to answer the original question, when I play the Shawn Daniel way to play it, my ring finger is touching the E string, so I can't hear it. I'm muting it with my ring finger. Therefore, the sound on top of the chord is going to be the 3rd fret of the B string, which happens to be a D, right? Another way maybe, to me, why I think this is a better sounding G major chord, having the D on top, right, is more like how a triad is built. A G, a B, and a D. G, B, D, another G, and then have that fifth on top, right? So this is how, like, if you're gonna play it on a piano, you just stack the triad where the fifth is usually on top in root position. So to me, being, you know, someone who plays piano too, maybe that just sounds better, right? Now, where you might want to use the Wonderwall way to play a G major chord, where your ring finger and your pinky are both on the 3rd fret of the B and the E string, would be when you're playing Wonderwall, right? The nice thing about that is, like, you know, if you're doing these chords, right, you can really just kind of plant this. You don't have to worry about your pinky going anywhere else, which honestly is an underrated part about when you're first starting out playing guitar. Sometimes if you don't need to use the finger, it's better just to stash it in a spot where you know you're not gonna have to move it, right? So just kind of hammering down, just gluing your ring finger and your pinky to the 3rd fret of the B and the E strings is a great way to start maybe experimenting in the key of G, where you're playing like a G, C add 9, D suspended 4, E minor 7, and all those types of chords, right? So there's definitely a place for it, but I think it's more of just a way to kind of like solidify that. And also what you're doing there is you're putting a G on top of every chord that you could possibly play in that key. Wonderwall, for instance, right? So if you really kind of want to use that G note as a way to bind together the sound of maybe a progression that is moving, but you want to have a little bit of that G atmosphere, just go ahead and stash it there. But again, I think those are just kind of specific examples where you might want to be able to use it. But like I said, the one that I always gravitate toward is where my ring finger is on the 3rd fret of the B string, using it to mute, and then just have it there in case I need to go somewhere else. Then the rest of my hand is kind of a little bit more free to move around instead of locking it in. And that's my answer, so of course that's the right answer. Great lesson. I love any tips to make my rhythm playing more interesting. I love all your masterclasses. Aren't you due for a new one? You haven't done a rhythm masterclass, and you are the rhythm meister. Yeah, so I think actually the next masterclass is going to be just a music theory beginning to somewhat an early advanced thing, and just kind of like everything that I learned about music theory taught in a linear way, which is something that I've been working on. Hopefully, maybe it'll be ready around the end of this month. I'm going to do a rhythm video coming up in the next week or two, but I don't know, we'll see how that could translate to a masterclass, but thank you for inquiring. Definitely there's going to be more masterclasses on the way, and if you haven't taken any of them, they're on sale, so check out the link in the description. Awesome live stream vid, wish I could have caught it. LOL, enjoyed the tunes. See, I went live a couple times last week with Kindred and Andrea. I think I might go live this week with Katie, or maybe Kindred again, or whoever. The thing about the live streams is they're not planned. They're really kind of spontaneous. So if you don't have notifications on, that would be a good reason to do it. I never say, hey, subscribe, click the bell for notifications, but this would be an instance where you kind of have to be notified of the live streams. And again, live streams are a lot of fun. I definitely feel like I should start going at least once a week, so I'm going to try to do that. Hold me to it. Flame me if I'm not doing it. But yeah, hopefully there's going to be another one sometime this week. You could use a little more hippiness instead of a-holeness. I feel like the great mystery of life is trying to find the perfect balance between being a hippie and being an a-hole. So any tips that you guys could give me on how to perfectly center myself, I'm open to it. Otherwise, I feel like I'm doing a pretty good job. I want to see you well dressed with a cool hairstyle. Oh, okay. I mean, that's kind of a backhanded compliment, isn't it? So I'm excited for listing homework this week. If you followed the channel for a while, you know one of the OG queens of the channel has been my girl Allie, who went off to music college in Boston at Berkeley, and she actually just released a bunch of music, and it's actually like super good. So check that out and show her some love. And then if you have any questions or comments, hit me up in the comments section, Instagram, Twitter, or the website. I'll talk to y'all soon. Thanks a lot.